Okay, if you saw the last video short, or if you didn't see, I'm advocating for the elimination entirely of the federal income tax, both on individuals and the companies. It doesn't work. It's not funding the government. It's a plantation peonage system of debt collateralization by involuntary labor service. That's what the money's doing. It's not going in the Treasury to fund the government. This system is a complete and total fraud. We need a system that actually raises revenue for the government to utilize to operate, that doesn't violate the Constitution with every single step and mechanism it uses within the system to fund itself. The way you do that is you terminate the federal income tax, both on the companies and the individuals. If companies want to artificially inflate expenses to eliminate all of their profits, let them explain it to their shareholders without having a tax law to blame for it. Because that's why you have this elite class of corporate boardroom members that own all the money. They're paying themselves the bonuses to get rid of the tax on the company by having the bonuses be an expense that eliminates the profits. So they end up with all the money. The company pays no dividends to its shareholders because all the profits are gone. Surprise! We had $100 million in profit on December 1st. But by December 30th, it was down to $3 million in profit. All the rest got expensed in December. And we're in the 33% bracket. So here's your $1 million, Mr. Government, on $100 million in profit we spent on ourselves. Thank you very much. 1% or zero. Ask Apple, ask Google, ask the banking system. Zero. They pay nothing. Meanwhile, the individual person can't deduct a single rent, a single phone bill, a single gas bill. The corporations deduct thousands of rents, hundreds of thousands of phone bills. You get to deduct nothing. The result, of course, is that the entire burden of the tax system is shifted onto the backs of labor, whose labor is not recognized as an equal exchange of value for labor. It's all profit. All profit. You mean it wasn't worth anything? If it wasn't worth anything and had no basis, then the money they gave me for that must have been a gift. It's not taxable income. Income is earnings minus expenses. But individuals aren't allowed to deduct expenses. Only the corporations. So this has perverted the entire system of what was supposed to be uniform taxation into graduated taxation in a class warfare system, where the tax brackets of the tax system literally define the classes of society that are set at warfare with one another, so that the politicians can loot the treasury in secret without it being noticed, even while both sides of the class warfare conflict constantly call on the government to step in and exercise more power to intervene in the class warfare conflict that the politicians engineered. Do you get it? It's a vicious self-repeating cycle of ever greater enslavement of the people, resulting from an ever-growing power of the government to exercise over every aspect of their lives and property in fact. So we need a new system. And the way you get to a new system is you throw away taxing labor, you throw away the concept of taxing profits. It's right out of the Communist Manifesto. It's the second plank of the Communist Manifesto. A heavy, progressive, or graduated income tax. That's where you find class warfare. The Constitution requires taxes to be uniform. Graduated isn't there. It's unconstitutional. It's class warfare. It divides the people. It's the mechanism by which the people are divided and set at war with one another. Now you eliminate the income tax. And instead of taxing profits, you don't tax labor at all. The American people get to keep 95% 3.5%, 6.5% for Social Security, and the other 94% you're going home with. And then you tax the corporations 4% every month of everything they earn. At the end of the year, they file a return that consolidates all the earnings throughout the year and rounds the number out to 4%, sending in a check or seeking a refund if it was overpaid through the 11 months. Every single month, they send in 4%. The reason why I chose 4% as the starting number, it's actually 3.5% to 4% is where you should start. The reason why is because some companies are making money so fast, they can't get rid of all the profits by artificial expenses, like ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil reports $110 billion in revenues every single quarter, $450 billion a year. Is that what they pay tax on? No, I'm afraid not. 90% of that is expensed away. At the end, they have $45 billion in tax. They can't get rid of that last $45 billion. And they're in the 33% tax rate. So they send in $15 billion of the 45 profit after expenses. Okay? So what percentage is $15 billion that they paid of the $450 billion that they made? 3.5%. So if you start at 3.5%, the shift from taxing profits to taxing revenues won't impact the companies that are actually paying tax now. What it will do is it will catch all the companies that are not paying any tax, and it will force them to begin to do so on a monthly basis. And now you have a monthly budget resulting from all the revenues being paid in every month by every company operating in the country, foreign, domestic, or both foreign and domestic. Everybody doing business sends in 4% every month, and that becomes the budget that the U.S. Congress must learn to live within. And when they pass good laws, they'll immediately have more tax revenues from the companies coming in that month. And when they pass bad law, the revenues will go down. So you'll have an immediate feedback mechanism that lets you know whether or not Congress has got their head up their ass or they're actually working under the Constitution. Now, you need to get rid of the income tax, replace it with a revenue tax, flat tax on all businesses. And then what will happen? Well, the first thing that will happen is companies will probably stop artificially inflating expenses and lying to their shareholders about not having any profits to pay dividends. Because now it doesn't matter if you earn $1 trillion or $10 billion. You pay 3.5% to 4%, flat rate, no deductions. The only companies that should be deducted this are the supermarkets. They're working on a 1% margin. They don't have 3.5% to pay without jacking the price in. They're the only people that should be exempted from this. The food, the supermarkets. Now, what happens when you do this is you'll remotivate the companies. Right now, our system motivates them to not have profits. Who wants to own that piece of crap? You run yourself to not make any money? Oh, yeah, right. That's where I'm investing my dollars. Check. It demotivates them to stop having profits. It motivates them to make profits, knowing that they won't get penalized with a tax rate that differs regardless of whether they make $1 or $10 trillion. So what impact would that have on a company like ExxonMobil, who suddenly would be making all their business decisions based on good business decisions, not tax consequences and tax planning? I'll tell you what'll happen. Within 3 years, that company won't be making $500 billion. They'll be making $2 to $3 trillion a year. Not $500 billion. 2 to 3. And you'll get a lot more tax revenue from that, as you will from all the other companies who are motivated to make money now instead of not make it. Not only that, but they'll be motivated to pay a dividend to their shareholders, finally. Instead of telling them for 20 years, we didn't make any money. Oh, expenses chewed it all up in December. Sorry, guys. But you can keep buying stock. Just don't expect to get any return on your investment. Like I said, who wants to buy into that piece of crap? And that's part of the reason why Main Street doesn't trust Wall Street and thinks it's an accounting game, because the numbers aren't real. They're artificial, they're faked, they're manufactured to eliminate the profits, and nobody outside the company really knows what's going on inside on their books, do they? No. So if you remotivate these companies to make money instead of motivating them to lie about how much they spent, they'll earn a lot more. And your tax base will increase significantly because it won't be limited by tax planning. Individuals, investors will see these companies and buy their stock because they're going to pay dividends out of the profits, not eliminate them with artificially inflated expenses so as to avoid tax. So you're creating a mechanism that draws more investment into the marketplace from the individual and worldwide community because they see a real reason to do so, because there's a return on the investment in the form of dividends paid every year that will grow every year in a well-run company. And that constant return means the investors not only get the appreciated value of the stock to realize when they need the money, but they also get a steady stream of additional earnings, income, not taxable anymore. It's just a stream of revenue from the dividends paid by the companies. And this is how you restore a real tax system and a real stock market system at the same time. You can fix your investment system, you can fix your tax system. The only thing left to do then is fix your money system. And we can do that too. Stay tuned for more.